Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to our Friday edition video where we're featuring the new Tier 9 European destroyer. I'm going to try to pronounce it. The Lambros Katsonis. Perhaps that's the best way in pronouncing the name of the ship, as it is a Greek Navy ship. So here in World Warships it sits at Tier 9. Now, I have three clips to show you in today's video. This first one is going to be roughly 7 minutes, and then I'm going to have one that's maybe like 30 seconds, and then I have the third one, which will be the longest of these three. But what I want to talk about this ship is I want to start off in talking about the ship's weaknesses, slash where I think she excels best, because this is an odd destroyer line. I'll get more into that as time goes on, but what I want to talk about is what I'm doing here. What I have found that works best, particularly going from the split, Tier 8 split, could probably kind of do what I'm doing right here, but going to the Katsonis is, the reality is that this is a gunboat destroyer line, okay? The torpedoes, you kind of treat them as an afterthought, but first and foremost, it's a gunboat destroyer line. So with how Wargaming has set this ship up, they've done some interesting things to give you a smoke that doesn't have the longest duration time. They give you this radar that's a 9-kilometer radar, but it only lasts for 10 seconds. So this is a gunboat that has a really peculiar identity, and how does it work and how does it not work? To give you my overview thought, when I play this line, I would rather play the French destroyer line or the Russian destroyer line, the Delny line, or Havrovsk used to sit on. In my opinion, both of those destroyers play the gunboat role better than Katsonis, because Katsonis has it has the radar consumable, right? So you're like tempted to, hey, I should be like this cap contester. And she has the smoke, so you can smoke up, disengage. And I'm going to make a massive mistake here, and that's kind of the main reason why I've had this, part of the reason I have this clip in. But she's this destroyer that is a very large destroyer. She's quite large in size. She has poor maneuverability, and slows down slowly and accelerates sort of slowly. So you can't really function that gunboat really well in, accelerating, deaccelerating, and avoiding incoming salvos. Okay. Now the mistake I make here is I just use my smoke, and I had a brain fart, and I was like, oh, I'll just use my smoke now that I see that those ships are pushing into me. So I just press T, and I'm like, oh crap, I have messed up. I don't have smoke. So immediately we hit the engine boost. Now watch how much health we lose in such a short amount of time. This is what the first video is to illustrate, and this is what the second video is to illustrate. So if you mess up with your positioning, because you're not a maneuverable destroyer, you're a very large size destroyer, you will get punished quickly in this ship. So I think that this ship line is a bit weird to play. I was kind of more open-minded with the split, but with the Katsonis, I'm like, not so much. Okay, now here you see us use the strength of the radar. Someone stepped on the cap, it's the Ulster-Outland, so he's already reversing, so we'll get some resets on him, and because he has a fast torpedo reload time, we're just gonna go ahead and leave the smoke. Now you can see with my adrenaline rush kicking in, my torpedo reload time is just under, it's under a minute, right? So we expected the torps, we knew they were coming, so we leave the smoke screen and we avoid them. Now you only get 2 racks of torpedoes, 2 sets of 4 on either side that do really low damage. So really what I have done, I've given up concealment on my commander, and I've gone for more of a range build. That is where I find that this destroyer works best at. You have the radar when you need to bully other destroyers that are spotting you. When you don't take conceal on your commander, your concealment is 7.99 kilometers to 8 kilometers, or a full concealed build is 7.19, so 7.2 kilometer. So I've given up taking the conceal on this commander because I've taken the main battery and A expert, which extends the main battery firing range. Because stock, your gun firing range is 11.5, and that's just hard to make these guns work. In terms of if you're playing open gunboating and there is just a you're this large size destroyer, you sit very tall and wide out of the water, and you lack maneuverability and you lack that acceleration and deacceleration, so you get punished more. So I have found that it works best if I push myself out farther to what these guns give is a 13.79, 13.8 kilometer gun range. Okay, that just works better overall. So what you will be doing often, the reason why I even push in the beginning in this video is I was trying to spot the Stalingrad because I wanted my team to focus him out before he got a lot of heals off, which I don't remember if they've already killed him yet at this point. But that team play decision cost me a lot of health because I didn't realize I didn't have smoke. So I could have just sat behind the island just before the Yamagiri died. So the playstyle of this ship, as my team falls apart in this match, is that it's just kind of, when the enemy team starts showing aggression and pushing in, you're just kind of kiting away from them, farming them. When you are in an engagement where there's just destroyers around you, you try to bully the destroyers, but you can't let them bully you in return. So this line doesn't do the best in terms of just spotting damage. We've done 35,000 spotting damage, we have almost 800,000 potential damage. But in terms of just being this spotter, it's not what she's meant to be. So this destroyer line becomes more of a farming line, kind of like how you might think of Marcel, Kleber per se, but even those ships are stronger, and you can get away with them more than what you can here. And I'm comparing it to the tier 10, but compare it to the tier 9 of the French GD and the gunboat Russian destroyer line, right? The other thing is that you have to be very selective when you use your engine boost because it doesn't last very long, just under a minute and a half. If you've not taken the engine boost modification, that would go in slot 2. So I tend to use the engine boost more when I'm needing to disengage quickly from the enemy. You saw that earlier when we got caught out trying to go dark, and our Yamagiri smoked us up, which was a really great play by him. But using it when in more troubling situations, kind of similar to maybe how you use that engine boost on the Ragnar, which is I think a 20% engine boost, but it only lasts for like a minute or something, and you go super fast. You know, Ragnar is much more, for me, much more enjoyable to play than this destroyer. So that is fundamentally how I would just explain this ship. Now in this clip, I just want to showcase how quickly you lose health. So I was torturing the battleships here earlier, but the Ulster-Outland has pushed up the 1 line. So I would rather play more at range here, but I recognize that there's a sub here. Our sub's moving around the island here just off to my left. And there's an Ulster-Outland who's trying to get a flanking shots with his torpedoes and moving up past the island on F1. So I know he's probably somewhere up over here, and there he is. Now watch how quickly my health goes down. We unfortunately turned into this Pommern salvo. There's going to be another battleship salvo come in. We're going to have some shots from the Ulster-Outland here. So just like that, in a matter of seconds, we've gone from 17,000 to 3,000 health. We eventually kill that Ulster-Outland, and time goes on. Here is more of these destroyer versus destroyer engagements. So we've picked out destroyers. We're pushing in on this island. So if we do catch a destroyer, we can put the island between us and any other enemy ships, and we get spotted. So we do immediately, we pop the radar. It's the Jaeger. Now I've had these weird gun engagements with Jaegers where it's kind of like don't let the Jaeger have, or a destroyer that has better concealment than you, kind of have power over you. So here it's like, well, I want to push in, I want to make sure we take this Jaeger out. Now I am mindful, I popped the engine boost, I accelerated forward in case Jaeger has launched his really fast 12 torpedoes towards me. So we have him burning very nicely. So we're just going to sit here just really close to the island. We can accelerate and get him towards the island between us and him if he did fire any torpedoes in our direction, which I don't think he has at this point. So he goes down, out of safety, we accelerate, and we put the island between him and us. Okay, so that was a favorable destroyer engagement for us. But just because we got detected didn't mean we just ran away. We popped the radar, we caught him out, and we had teammates focusing him well in killing him. So sitting here, as I was kind of just passively playing there, so a battleship takes a long shot at me, means that I can reverse out here. And one thing you do well with destroyer gunboats is that you often you bully the battleship. So here we're going to bully the battleship. So we're going to go ahead and use a smoke, and I'm going to focus this Azumo. Now he gets caught out here with the shores, but I think it's also the there's a destroyer that spots him. I can't remember the name of the destroyer. We'll look here in a minute. So I want to bully the Azumo, and I want to push him away. One of the things that you do when you're a gunboat destroyer is there's not much the Azumo can do with us. I mean, he has some good deck armor, thicker deck armor, but we just want to push him away. And in pushing him away, it gives our team more space to move up and assume more map control. So pretty soon, this Azumo is going to be leaving our main battery firing range, but it's the lightning over here, right? So I recognize in my role that it'd be better for me to take on this lightning. Now we're going to make a mistake here. When you're taking on destroyers that are playing like this, he's probably launched his torpedoes. It's important to see what's behind you. So I'm moving in the direction of the ships he's torpedoing. So there's two cruisers back to my right. So we're going to eat a torpedo. So we lose some health pretty quickly because this destroyer line, again, it's not maneuverable. Acceleration, de-acceleration is rather poor. But we have our radar here in handy when we need to use it. So we do take him out. So we've cleared both the destroyers out. We've pushed the Azumo down to the H line. And now the goal is to just simply disengage. Now the destroyers is going to be focusing us. But our saving grace here is going to be, this is arms race and randoms. And so we have the heal buff. So we're ticking back some health. When you're playing a gunboat destroyer line, playing with your throttle, accelerating, de-accelerating, so we de-accelerated, avoided that salvo. Here, he's still taking some pot shots at us, so really close there, as he still thought we were accelerating away, but he's lost a lot of health just trying to get his guns to bear on us, and now we're just going to chill. The beauty of arms race when your team does have a health buff is that you can just take some time in letting your ship recover some health. Otherwise, we should have already been dead in this match. Okay, so that's how quick things can just end for you in playing this destroyer. So it's important to understand, as when you play gunboat destroyer, one, having map awareness and situational awareness of what's happening around you, where are your teammates at in relation to the enemy destroyers, because enemy destroyers, they much more prefer to torpedo a cruiser or a battleship versus you in a destroyer. That's not always the case, but typically it falls somewhere in that line. Here I am able to be cheeky. I've got the island between myself and the Azumo and the shores. So we open up some shots and we get the Colorado here. Now we're moving back up. We've seen the Azumo where he's at. My goal is now to spot the shores. Because I've taken, our team has taken out both of the shores on this flank and we don't have any subs, I can actually begin to play more of that spotter role, even though I'm a gunboat destroyer. Now it's more favorable for me to play a little bit more of a spotter role because of how low my health is. I don't want to just start opening up with my guns and then my team lose out on points and give the enemy team points gain. So we're just going to take our time here, using the island a little bit to close the distance, but not that that's a really big concern here. So I'm going to move out more towards my left to see if I can spot the shores again. Because you can see our team's pushing pretty strong. We've won this flank, but we've lost the flank on the other side of the map. So there's going to be this rotating, both teams kind of rotating towards mid here happening pretty soon. So it's important that one, we or the CV spot the shores and we get rid of him. And two is that we deal with the Azumo. So we're moving up along here and I'm just waiting to see. I'm like, oh, I'm very tempted to open up with these 140mm guns. But we're going to wait, see what happens. And then, so he's avoided the torpedoes. That salvo didn't take him out, so we're just like, nah, we're going to go ahead and finish him. So I go ahead and open up. Now, we are broadside now to the Azumo, and so we go ahead and instantly start smoking up. He just fired his salvo, so there's no concern there unless he gets his third turret off on us. So now we start HE spamming him. Now, we do have a quick reload time on these torpedoes. Again, you get two racks per side, 8 torps in total. But we're going to let him close the distance. Now, I'm talking about the torpedoes just a little bit. The maximum damage of these is 10,700. Stock reload time is 68 seconds, but they have an 80 knot speed. Reaction time 7.4 seconds, detectability range 1.6 kilometers. So for us here, we're just going to wait till the Zumo gets closer before we torpedo him. Now, he's trying to get his turrets off on us, but that means he's showed some too much side. I think it's, I can't remember if it's a friendly Iowa that we have pushing up on the 9 line. But he's showed too much side, and so he's getting punished for it. So knowing that he's about to die soon, I'm pretty sure he's going to bow on to the battleship. We go ahead and aim torpedoes as such. It's a Jean Bar, right? And so Jean Bar takes him out. Now we rotate back to mid. We have a pretty favorable advantage in terms of ships and points, but we just want to help out here as I check to see if my torpedo aim would have been well if he would have continued accelerating forward. So in the meantime, we lose our Italian destroyer friend. And we're going to push up here. Our Seattle's about to get a really nice flanking position on the enemy Charles Martel and other ships that are pushing into the backside on the 4-5 line into the cap. We lose our split. So enemy team is closing that gap. They've just lost 2 ships, but the Seattle just slaps the Charles Martel, and I think the Jean Bar also helped in that. So he's out of the picture, and we're going to pick up some buffs here. We're going to pick up this reload buff, and then we'll go pick up the other reload buff. So we're already kind of planning on what we're going to do. So now I've taken the position that I'm just going to support my team in getting points for them. Grom gets caught out here, so we have he's not in a favorable position between the Seattle and the Cleveland. Seattle takes him out. It's great. Belfast torpedoes the Drake and taking him out. So now we're about to step onto the cap. So overall, my general impressions of this destroyer is that it's just okay. When you try to build for the concealed build and play around the radar, it just doesn't work. For the reasons that I said, you just start off with, you don't have the best concealment in game. Among tier 9 destroyers, you're a large size destroyer, you sit up pretty high out of the water, especially the forward part of the ship. Your maneuverability is terrible, and you accelerate and particularly you deaccelerate the slowest. Now we have a prop mod in the slot 4, but you just slow down so quickly, and that just leads you taking losing more health in destroyer engagements. If you want to play a destroyer line that has the radar, and you can play more comfortably around contesting caps and such, then you're going to want to play Radar Changmu. You're going to want to pick up the tier 9, that's the Pan-Asian destroyer, and this radar lasts longer, but it's a 7.5 kilometer radar. Or pick up the Black in the Armory for Coal, tier 9 American destroyer that has a 7.5 kilometer radar and has not deep water torpedoes, regular torpedoes, and the American smokescreen, among other things. That's the destroyers you're going to play. I mean, even Ragnar at tier 10 performs that kind of role much better than this tier 9 Katsonis. So I'm interested. I've already researched. I picked up the Gdansk. I haven't purchased it yet. I'm grinding a lot of lines right now, so I'm just spending a lot of credits. So I've been playing 4 credits. So we will feature Gdansk in a week or 2. I got Hindenburg, so Hindenburg video might be happening next week with how things go. But this destroyer line's just okay. She just has a weird identity, and to me, you get the most out of the ship when you play at range, and when there are favorable engagements where you can take on the enemy destroyers or even a submarine round, like we did in the beginning of this match with the 2 DDs, unfortunately catching that 1 torpedo. So this is going to take us into the post-battle results and bring the video to a close. So we're at 23,800 XP, 1,100 free XP, only 61,000 damage. We did some kill securing there for our team. We got the assisted cap. We picked up some buffs. Buffs give you points when you pick the points for your team when you pick them up. I think it's 10 points per buff that you pick up. And again, this is mostly you play this destroyer line for guns, not for torpedoes. Torpedoes are just there as convenient when you need them to. They have good torpedo angles, so you can use them kiting away like we did in that first clip. So we're going to land with almost 1600 base XP, being placing 5th on the team. Not as much potential damage as the first 2 games. Brief clips we showed with just over 400,000. Shores, yeah, 15 HP for that kill secure. And this is what you see what we had with premium account. So this is going to bring the video to a close, so I hope you liked talking about this ship a bit more and giving more my thoughts and opinion with some of the different clips. So if you liked this video, give a thumbs up. If you didn't, give a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you're subscribed, thanks so much. I would appreciate it. And we'll catch you next time. Take care.